Good evening, Karina Carvalho with ABC News. The hearts and hopes of Queensland football fans have been broken, with Johnathan Thurston ruled out for the rest of the season. The Origin and Cowboys great will need surgery on his shoulder, which he re-injured in this week's win over New South Wales. And his fairy tale farewell to representative football is no more. Alison Horn reports.
The King of the North has fallen.
I thought I might have been able to pump one or two more games out, but the medical advice I've been given is, if you want to, I suppose, live a healthy life after football, it's best to get this done now.
Johnathan Thurston's 2017 season has come to a heartbreaking end. The football legend requires immediate surgery after re-injuring his shoulder during his game-clinching performance in this week's State of Origin.
Yeah, pretty shattering.
Fans in his hometown of Townsville are just as upset.
Gutted, mate, I can assure you of that.
I'm disappointed because he's such a good player.
Thurston's Origin display was nothing short of the brilliance he's famed for.
Another Houdini, another unbelievable comeback by Queensland.
In the dying minutes, forcing a Queensland victory and sending the series into a decider.
Unbelievable, what a player.
But it came at a massive cost.
You can see him there, he cannot pick his right shoulder up. I think he'll be heading for an operation this week.
Thurston's fitness had been under a cloud since he first injured his shoulder in the Anzac Test. But Cowboys coach Paul Green denies it was a wrong decision to clear the star half for Origin Game 2.
At that stage, when we did decide that he was physically right to play, he'd passed all medical markers in terms of strength, stability in the shoulder.
Obviously I'll be able to spend a bit more time with the family now, but pretty shattering.
Even Queensland's politicians have felt the blow.
We wouldn't have the decider without JT. So I think that every Queensland player and every Queenslander will go into that decider knowing that we've got to deliver this game for JT.
It was sad, but I hope that the injury doesn't cut short his career, and I think that really would be a worry for our community.
The shoulder operation will force the playmaker out of action for at least the next 6 months. Adding to the heartbreak, Thurston will be robbed of his fairy tale end to Origin football and miss the Rugby League World Cup.
I'm at ease with the decision that I've made. I wanted to obviously finish on a high this year with representative football, but that's not to be.
Thurston was due to play his 300th game for the North Queensland Cowboys this weekend, but for the foreseeable future, his role will be on the sideline. Alison Horn, ABC News.
Let's go live to our sport reporter Michael Rennie at Lang Park. Michael, just how bad is Johnathan Thurston's shoulder?
Well, Karina, he's suffered the injury to his rotator cuff. Now, I've been told by an expert today that is the most crucial stabilising muscle in the shoulder. It's very important that that is looked after. It can be a very tough muscle to deal with and a really bad injury. And the thing with that too at the moment is normally this muscle will heal itself if you get a tear one, a light tear or a medium tear. Well, this would mean that Johnathan Thurston has suffered a significant tear to this muscle. I mean, people have criticised him for coming back maybe a little bit too early, but as you heard from the coach there, Paul Green, he passed all the tests that were put in front of him. So he was right to go. It's just one of these things that happen when you play football. And the thing that he has to consider as well is because this muscle is so crucial to the shoulder, that it could affect other parts of his shoulder and cause some really nasty long-term injuries the other night to stay out and finish off and win the game for Queensland in the second State of Origin. It would have been an extremely painful injury.
Yeah, gutsy indeed. Michael, attention now turns to the decider at Lang Park, and the big question for selectors, who do you get to replace a legend?
Yeah, Mr. Irreplaceable, really, Johnathan Thurston, and that's the job in front of the Queensland selectors. Coach Kevin Walters, the Maroons coach, he did give an indication of who's in the running on Fox Sports NRL 360 last night.
Michael Morgan would be an option for us.
Kevin Munster was there last night.
Munster was the 18th man, so he'd be another one for us. Corey Norman's been playing well for Parramatta.
Another player that's not mentioned there, Karina, that I think would have to be in the running if you're picking a player on form Daly Cherry Evans has been outstanding from the Manly Seagulls this year. He was there but once before. He could do the job again for Queensland. Maybe he's a better player now than he was then, and his form just really says that he's putting his hand up for that. And another guy who is an outside chance, I think, is Ben Hunt from the Brisbane Broncos. Look, he played a lot of his early career off the bench for them, would be a great utility, known as the bulldozer at the Broncos headquarters at Red Hill because of the way he runs the ball at the line. So a good little addition possibly for Queensland, although that's a job for the selectors. They'll come up with a side and name it in 10 days' time for the decider here at Lang Park. Can't wait for it, Karina. It should be a great game.
Yeah, those selectors, their job made all the more difficult. Michael Rennie there at Lang Park.